One of the most exciting things to come out of the Game Awards this year was the announcement of a brand new Okami game, a sequel to Okami nearly 20 years later. And obviously, that's a really big deal. And unfortunately, I do have to pause just for a moment. Need to address something here. I streamed the Game Awards, and during the stream, in that moment, I expressed slight confusion because it sounded to me like Jeff Keighley was building up to some sort of really broad, industry-wide kind of moment, sort of in line with when he got all the, the Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony presidents on stage at the same time, something like that. So I was slightly confused, not confused, just surprised when it ended up just being the announcement of one specific game. And the way that I expressed my confusion/surprise in that moment led many people to believe that I did not think that this announcement was a big deal at all and that Okami is stupid. Despite the fact that surrounding this moment, I expressed profusely how amazing and cool I thought this was. And also, I described what I'm describing to you now and explained myself. All of those parts seem to have just kind of gotten lost. Slightly frustrating being in situations like that where you communicate a lot of things, but people really zero in on this little chunk right here that you didn't quite communicate the right way. It's a thing. It comes with everything. But just to be crystal clear, yes, this is a big deal. It's a really huge deal for Okami fans. It's a really just cool situation. It's cool that it's happening, but let's get to the point of the video. It's also a weird situation. It is weird because, for a very brief history, Okami was created by Clover Studios, which was owned by Capcom back in the day. Clover put out a bunch of really cool games. Okami, one of them. Beautiful Joe. They seem to specialize in making really cool games that just didn't quite sell well enough, especially for Capcom at the time. They had other IPs that were doing a lot better, and so eventually Capcom decided to close down the studio. But it's okay. Because like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Hideki Kamiya and a bunch of the rest of the Clover team went to form Platinum Games. Look at that. It's Clover 2.0. Platinum Games, now it's independent, and they get to do whatever they want. But then, see, Platinum Games, their specialty is creating really cool games that just don't seem to sell quite as well as they should. And it's been this long ongoing thing. Platinum Games, they very, very skilled developers. Really they make really great action games. They're really good at just these action heavy systems. I don't know, they make games that feel really good to play and are usually very just creative and really interesting, very, very stylish. Incredible. Everything they ever do is always just very, very stylish. But again, yeah, nothing ever performs like that well. You know what I mean? There's all these these little, I don't know if they're small enough to call cult favorites or whatever, but like Bayonetta, little one-offs, Wonderful 101, these games that they review well and they have fans, but they never quite sell as much as you would like. If you look at the last 10 years of what they've done, the most successful thing they've done was Nier Automata. That was a really big thing for Square Enix, sure, but then helping Nintendo with Star Fox Zero, that didn't really work out well. They did Astral Chain, which again has a lot of fans, reviewed really well. I thought the game was really cool, and Nintendo, they did buy the IP outright to make sure that they own it, but it did not sell that well. Not as well as you would like. And then, they did Bayonetta 3, and those games, they sell kinda okay. But then Bayonetta Origins, that didn't do very well at all. And then then Babylon's Fall, World of Demons, those were just straight up failures. Those have been, those released and shut down within a year. So they've got kind of a bit of a troubled and inconsistent history, which is really sad because, again, they're such talented developers. You want to see them succeed and really you want to see him strike gold. You want to see him hit on something that just plain works. But it seems that things were not going very well at the company itself. Recently, Hideki Kamiya himself left the company. And now, like a year later, what's the new news? Well, I'm happy to say that, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Hideki Kamiya is now working on a sequel to Okami, back with Capcom, working with his new studio, Clover's. So just to briefly summarize it again, Clover works for Capcom. They make Okami and other games. And then, oh no, everything went bad, so it shut down. But don't worry, they formed Platinum Games, and now they can do whatever they want. And then, apparently, everything at Platinum Games goes bad, but don't worry, now Hideki Kamiya is back with Capcom, back with an additional new studio that's gonna make everything right and bring everything back to normal and let this creative team do whatever they want. And, I mean, it's great. It's amazing. You know, do not get me wrong. If this is what needs to happen to get Okami, I mean, this is it. Capcom is funding it, so you know that it's in good hands. You know, Capcom as a company, like, they've been actually doing really, really great the last several years. Like, they have been one of the best gaming companies out there. They're doing a great job, and I have a pretty good amount of trust for them. Trust in them and how they handle their IPs. I'm very happy with what they've been doing with a lot of their stuff recently. So it's good to know that the new Okami game has Capcom behind it. You know, that's big AAA publisher money. So that's good. And, you know, you've got Hideki Kamiya, the creative lead. He's working on it. They didn't just give Okami 2 to just any old person. It's him. It's the exact scenario that you would hope for. I mean, come on. Clover's, like, it's just, there you go. It's back to the way that things used to be. But, like, it really does highlight how strange this whole situation has been, and how the whole history of Hideki Kamiya and Clover Studios and Platinum Games and all that, how just, like, kind of weird it's all been. Clover was shut down, and then creating Platinum Games was supposed to be the creative liberation. But then for some reason, things at Platinum Games started to go bad too. And so now this, going back to Capcom, is seen as the creative liberation. And I'm certainly not going to start, like, speculating about specifics of why, but I do have to wonder, like, what keeps going bad in these scenarios? You know, like, what keeps going bad? What keeps preventing these studios from doing what they want to do? Is it a leadership problem? Is it related to Kamiya at all? I really don't know. But now it seems that now Kamiya, like, he left Platinum Games, and then he had a 1-year non-compete agreement where he couldn't, like, develop games for, like, a year. But now that that's up, yeah, now he's back at Capcom and Clover's, and it seems that a lot of the major staff from Platinum Games has left the company and is now over at Clover's. So, like, the core team at Clover's went over to Clover went over to Platinum Games, and now it's happening again. All of the main people associated with these games, a lot of the higher upper end staff have left and gone back over to Clover. It's just like, what is happening? Why? What? It could just be bad luck. Absolutely. It could just be purely bad luck that a lot of these projects haven't really worked out. It could be bad luck that, you know, I don't know, whoever's investing in the companies, whoever's managing these companies. I mean, you know, any number of things can go bad at a game company. We've learned that, especially in recent years. Kind of just like any and all of the above. Anything that can go wrong can go wrong. And I'm not familiar with the investment and management structure at Platinum Games or any of these companies or anything, but it is just kind of weird. It's been a little bit, I mean, it's been kind of hard to see these people and recognize that they have such good, like, design sense and sense of like style and gameplay. Again, they make really cool games. It's just that a lot of these games fail to get their footing, and then of course in recent times, you know, starting up any kind of live service thing and having it completely fail, essentially flop out of the gate on day one, that's going to be a big financial hit to anybody. So to have like 2 games launch and then shut down in the span of like a year, and then what else is going on in those couple of years? Well, it's Wonderful 101 Remastered, which is like, it's a cool game, but I don't think the remaster did very well. And then like Bayonetta and Bayonetta Origins, and again, lots of fans for those games, but they just don't sell that well. Bayonetta Origins especially. So it's like they just keep working on projects that don't really work. And now it seems the boat is sinking all over again, and everybody's going back to the first boat, which has been patched up and is sailing again. I don't know. It's just a weird situation. It's a very weird situation, and I have to wonder what could possibly be going on behind the scenes here. It's just strange. It's such a weird turnaround after nearly 20 years. And you know, I definitely want to stay positive. I have to hope that a lot of this was just bad luck, or perhaps poor management from people who won't be involved anymore. I really don't know. I'm hoping that Clover's fares well. I'm hoping that it fares better than Platinum Games did, and better than the original Clover Studios did. I hope that they put out a really great product in the Okami 2, or the sequel to Okami. And I'm hoping that this creative team, back under the Capcom banner, can start putting out games that just start hitting a little bit more of an audience, you know? And I personally, I may be the only one here, but I think it'd be pretty cool to see New Beautiful Joe. I'm just saying. Say New Beautiful Joe. That'd be pretty cool. But is this gonna be Clover 2.3.0? I don't know. Are they just gonna go back to all the classics and now we finally get all those sequels that we never got? What does come after this? What comes next? Okay, for both. What comes next for Platinum Games? What are they doing, especially now that all of their like core leadership is leaving? And then also, what comes next for Clovers? They're working on Okami. We don't know how long that will take. We don't know how early in development they are. It seems like they're probably pretty darn early in development. I imagine that they announced this in order to just kind of like drum up interest, and that's going to help with investors. I really don't quite know how the whole thing works. If they're owned by Capcom, does that mean they don't need investors? I really don't know, but I know that it's important to drum up interest, and sometimes that's why games get announced as early as they do. And you know, Hideki Kamiya, he's over at Clovers, and he can say that openly now, and so now everybody's happy and positive about this project that's coming now. But yeah, I don't know how long that'll take. And I don't know what comes after that. I really don't know. If I don't know how independent Capcom may allow Clovers to be. I don't know, like, are they just going to fall back on a different IP from back in the day? Or are they going to work on something new? Are they going to work on a different Capcom IP? I don't know, like, again, just off the top of my head, maybe Mega Man or something? Clovers working on a new Mega Man after Okami? Again, I wouldn't argue against that. I think that'd be relatively cool. But yeah, so yeah, I really don't know. It's a weird situation. It's a very weird history. But I'm very happy for them. This is awesome. It's fantastic. I am very excited to see what they come up with, and I wish them the best of luck.